critically ill and admitted to the ICU, my family was urging the doctors to pull the plug. Looking back on my life after becoming a transformer, I had poured all my energy into reshaping my family, turning my chubby, lazy brother into a handsome star, my plain sister into an academic achiever, and my housewife mother into a business elite. Yet they said they hated me the most in this life, blaming me for destroying their freedom. Now, with my eyes wide open, the whole family resents my strict, oppressive transformation plan. I tore down the dense, detailed schedule and said, "From now on, no more. You're free." This time, with this rotten, stinking life, I'm letting you live it to the fullest. My sister climbed from last place to the top 10 in her grade, and I sat in the audience listening to her speech as an outstanding representative. Thank you to the teachers. Thank you to my classmates. Thank you to Mom for caring. Faye listed a long string of thanks, but never to me. The homeroom teacher glanced at me, then quietly reminded my sister on stage. After all, everyone knew that Faye's progress was all thanks to my transformations. I was the best transformer, the master of discovering people's strengths, emphasizing their virtues, steering them clear of their flaws, transforming lives, and turning everything upside down. Faye's dream was to debut as an idol, but with her plain looks and awkward body, the path was nearly impossible. Her chance of success almost zero. Fortunately, having fulfilled my obsession, she was smart and suited to academics. So I crafted a study plan that propelled her from last place into the top 10. Yet, she never thanked me. She hated me for stealing her dream. After the teacher's whisper, Faye glared at me with pure hatred. Some control freak takes away others' freedom and expects thanks. How shameless. You turned me into a test-taking machine. Ruined my life. I don't owe her thanks. She publicly slapped me in the face in front of a sea of parents. I stood and left, catching her smirk of triumphant revenge. She knew I'd be too embarrassed to stay after her insult. I've been reborn. In my last life, I worked myself sick transforming my family. When I ended up in the ICU, they urged the doctors to unplug me. They hated my plans that restrained their freedom and ruined their comfortable lives. It was thankless work. So this time, I'm done with foolishness. No more playing the savior. I'll respect their fates. When news spread that I'd given up on Faye's transformation plan, all her teachers were stunned. The physics teacher I knew best sighed. It's for the best. You've worked too hard. Though Faye's grades improved, she still lagged behind as a mediocre student. To close that gap, I practically lived at school, consulting teachers, paying them off with dinners, and spending endless time refining her plan. By comparison, Faye hadn't even worked half as hard as I had. I persisted only because I wanted her to have a good future, even though no looks or power. Studying was her only way out. But since she resented me, so be it. As I left the office, I suddenly turned and told the teachers, "I heard Faye is clamoring to join the school's performing arts troupe." The Chinese teacher frowned. "Yeah, but, it's not a serious troupe. Just a bunch of lazy girls using it as an excuse to skip classes. I've warned Faye several times now. She's so mad she won't even talk to me." I chuckled meaningfully. "Don't stop her. Kids need to chase dreams or we become the villains of their youth. And kids remember grudges well." In the last life, Faye made headlines during college entrance exams, angrily accusing several teachers of corporal punishment in a media storm that got those teachers fired. But Faye's real grievance was being forbidden to join the school troupe. So she lied to get revenge. If she's so determined to chase dreams, then everyone should step aside for her. If she's thinking the biggest obstacle to debuting as an idol is me and her teachers, She's mistaken. Coming home from school before I even stepped inside, I heard my mom's shy voice. I earned 100,000 this month and I sent you 99 and kept 1,000 and for myself. She obviously misses you. It's not me stopping you from coming home. It's Serena. Her tone carried traces of grievance and complaint. Suddenly, the voice on the other end rose sharply. That bitch should never have been sent away. Should have strangled her. She comes home and targets me, forcing you and me to divorce and kicking me out. Mom nodded repeatedly, like a pecking chick, flattering him while blaming me. Yes, she's a meddling bitch. I love you so much, I'd die for you. But she doesn't understand my love. Once I'm financially free, I won't fear her anymore. I won't lose my freedom under her pressure. And I'll bring you back to beat her to death. The man chuckled arrogantly and casually whispered sweet nothings to Mom Flora, who blushed instantly. I clenched my fists, standing by the door, feeling a deep chill. That man on the phone was my stepfather, Blade. After my father died, Mom got together with him and had Faye and Arbor. Blade was an alcoholic gambler who sent me away for money. Blade beat Mom, drank and tormented Faye and Arbor. When I returned, I found Mom battered and unrecognizable, Faye and Arbor silent and withdrawn. The three tortured souls begged me to save them. So, I schemed to force a divorce between Mom and Blade, then began transforming Mom from an incompetent housewife into an elite businesswoman. But Mom secretly contacted Blade and even sent him money. I should have known. Love makes fools of us all. I deliberately made some noise. Mom quickly shut off her phone, then pretended to read the 10 Tips to Become a Lady Boss book I bought her. Seeing me approach, she threw the book aside, impatiently scolding, "Not only do you force me to study, but you check up on me constantly. Serena, I'm your mom, not your prisoner." She was fired up, pointing at the dense transformation plan on the wall, looking at me like I was the enemy. The plan's so strict. Why didn't you just kill me? I shouldn't have given birth to you, to ruin my life. She seemed to forget that when I returned, it was her, bruised and battered, clutching my legs, crying and begging me to transform her, to help her become independent and no longer be bullied. I walked to the wall, covered in plans, and took a deep breath. The densely packed schedule on the wall was the product of countless sleepless nights, fueled by bitter coffee. My sole purpose was clear: to transform them all into elites so they would no longer suffer the hardships of the lower class. Executing such a plan was exhausting. But crossing social strata is never easy. Throughout history, countless people have toiled their entire lives without ever breaking free from their situation. According to my plan, they only needed to endure a few short years to improve themselves and secure a comfortable life thereafter. In my previous life, Faye became an enviable academic prodigy. Arbor rose to stardom as a beloved celebrity, and Flora achieved financial freedom as a business elite, while others rotted away in the lower realms, struggling for survival. They basked in the spotlight, enjoying life, yet they resented me for destroying their former freedom, unable to understand that true freedom doesn't exist at the bottom. It's only found at the top. I raised my hand and tore down every plan pinned to the wall. Turning to my stunned mother, I said, "From now on, you're free!" Her face lit up with joy tinged with suspicion. "Really? This isn't another one of your tricks, right? People have to keep their words. You can't just go back on it." I smiled at her expression that clearly said, "Are you using a different tactic to pressure me? No tricks or coercion here. From this moment on, I won't waste a single thought on them." I nodded casually. "Really? If you don't want to follow the plan, then pack up and move out of my house. Just like we agreed. Mom lost her temper, glaring at me and shouting, "Why are you so kind-hearted all of a sudden? After all this talking, you're still trying to threaten me. Now you're using the house as leverage to force me." Then she straightened, beaming proudly. "You miscalculated. I have money now. Buying a house is no problem." Since becoming a business elite, she had slowly gotten on track and earned some money. She said coldly, "You can't threaten me. I'm chasing the love I want. I won't be your puppet." Mom was so pleased that as soon as she stepped out the door, I caught her sneaking off to call Blade sweetly, telling him she was finally free and would come looking for him soon. I twitched my lips and silently contacted a locksmith to change every lock in the house. In the end, I threw Faye and Arbor's belongings into the hallway. My stepfather's abusive household was about to get lively again, without the exhausting supervision and endless complaints. I slept soundly through to the afternoon of the next day until harsh knocking woke me. I lazily opened the door to find my resentful brother Arbor storming in. The moment I opened the door, he shouted, "Serena, my weight loss class and street dance class fees are overdue." "Why didn't you pay on time?" "Do you know they won't let me in now? It's so embarrassing. You're forcing me to go to classes, but you don't even pay the fees. Do you know how hard it is for me to attend? I'm sick of you signing me up for all these courses, making me dress the way you want, and even not letting me eat fried chicken. I don't have any personal space. I'm warning you, if this happens again, I won't go to a single one of those damn classes." He sounded like he'd found my weak spot and eagerly threatened me. I rubbed my ear coldly. "You don't have to go. He canceled all those courses for you. If you don't want to go, then don't. You can just stay home eating fried chicken and drinking soda like before." Arbor's once round face, now sharply defined from weight loss, froze. He used to be a chubby shut-in, glued to junk food at home, overweight and frail, constantly bullied and looked down upon at school. He had decent looks and talent in acting and dancing, so I deliberately steered him toward becoming a star. I forced him to lose weight, revamped his style, enrolled him in dance classes, acted as his manager, turning him from the most despised fat kid into the campus heartthrob with endless love letters. Yet while enjoying others' admiration, he resented me for ruining his lazy life. In his past life, after becoming a famous actor with a massive fan base, he would subtly hint that I was too harsh, causing his fans to target me online. Arbor glared at me with disdain, sneering, "You're lying! You never let anyone eat junk food at home." I pointed to the towering pile of clothes in the hallway and smiled mischievously, wagging my finger. "Not in my house, but in your place." "Go ahead." Arbor stared in shock at the mountain of clothes. I shrugged and spread my hands. "I'm giving up on the makeover plan. Mom's gone. That stuff belongs to you and Faye. You should get moving too." Arbor trembled with rage, yelling, "Who do you think you are, putting me out? You're way out of line." "Where else would I go?" I tilted my head, smiling. "If you don't leave, that means you want me to keep trying to fix you." He spat sharply and instinctively retorting, "I don't want to be your puppet." "Fine, I'll go. But it's not like I have nowhere to go." Seeing him like that, I knew he'd also secretly contacted Blade. He'd completely forgotten the days when Blade had beaten him into depression. The next moment, Arbor proudly bragged, "I'm telling you, Dad's changed. Last time he even bought me a fried chicken meal, and said he'd treat me better from now on. My mom's definitely with him. Mom's got money, and our family will be happy and peaceful. Way freer than with you. His excitement practically spilled out of his eyes. I scoffed, doubting him. Since I'd stopped Flora's makeover, I'd also withdrawn all resources and connections I'd provided her. Did she really think she could casually make 6 figures a month with her mediocre business skills? That was just me feeding her false confidence. Blade changing. I almost laughed. Old habits die hard. Blade only improved because they had value to squeeze. Once he'd milked them dry, he'd be the same drunken, abusive monster. After rescuing them from misery, they still went back to suffer. If they want freedom, let them return to their rotten, miserable lives. Arbor stormed off, hauling all his clothes back to Blade's house. That very evening, he posted an update with the caption after weathering storms. The family is finally reunited. Thanks to Dad for his patient waiting. The photo showed him and Faye having fulfilled their obsession. Flora and Blade sitting around a hot pot, smile stretching across their faces. Flora shyly nestled into Blade's arms. Arbor struck a pose to flaunt his jawline since they were contour with heavy makeup and a revealing outfit from the performing arts troupe. I laughed bitterly. After all the storms, this reunion meant they saw me as the storm itself. Little did they know the real storm was already on its way. Soon the post gained likes, and someone commented so jealous, finally free from someone's control, I couldn't help but laugh even more at with my boyfriend, Cedric. I've been busy dealing with Faye and the others and forgot about him. Under Cedric's comment, I replied, No need to envy. You're free too. Within a second, Cedric deleted the comment and messaged me privately. Serena, I was just joking. Don't take it seriously. I'm almost back from my business trip. I'll bring your favorite durian for you. I stared at Cedric's message and scoffed softly. He was obviously at the hospital taking care of his sick ex-girlfriend. Before Cedric and I got together, he and his ex were in that ambiguous stage, close friends but not lovers. When I appeared, he quickly fell for me and pursued me fiercely. Honestly, I wasn't interested. His family background was average, his grades mediocre, and aside from looks, he wasn't a match for me. I never planned to accept him, even though everyone knew about his relentless pursuit. Then, one rainy day, he braced the downpour to deliver durian to me. But he got soaked to the bone. I rejected him again. His eyes reddened. Choking back tears, he said, Aren't you the best transformer? Tell me what you don't like about me. I'll transform myself until I become what you want. I'm not a fan afraid. I just want to be with you. Maybe it was his pitiful look, or the intensity of his love, or the perfect atmosphere, but I inexplicably said yes. I never imagined his resentment would grow with my transformation plans during the time he spent caring for his sick ex, then accumulating to hatred after she died. His incitement was part of the family's betrayal toward me. I typed slowly. I'm not joking. We're over. Go take care of her. Silence followed. Then he said, Serena, don't be irrationally jealous. She's sick, show some understanding. I pinched my brow and smiled wryly. Now it was my fault. Patiently, I replied, Not jealous. Just telling you we're done. Don't overinterpret. Then I deleted Cedric and put away my phone. The next day, I went to the local orphanage. The director eagerly brought a group of children to me, nervously introducing them one by one. Some were deaf and mute, others blind, and some left behind for being autistic. Most children had their flaws, but their eyes met mine with boundless kindness and innocence. At the end, the director's voice softened, embarrassed. We don't have many perfect kids here. Who would you like to transform? I smiled and asked, "Would you mind if I transformed them all?" She was stunned for a moment, then shook her head joyfully. "Of course not. You're the best transformer. If these kids could be transformed by you, their futures would be bright." Her praise tasted bittersweet to me. As the best transformer in my last life, I wasted all my energy on family who didn't need transformation. When gravely ill, only a handful of orphanage workers cared for me. So even disabled and earning meager wages, they cared for me with relentless dedication. One of the rare moments of warmth in that life. The world is flawed, but someone is always patching in to fill the holes. This time, I want to be that someone. I bent down and gently stroked the head of a little girl missing her right hand. "Big sister's transformation process will be tough. Are you afraid?" "I was afraid they'd end up like Faye and Arbor." The girl looked up seriously. "Big sister, after the hard work, will other kids stop teasing me for not having a hand?" I nodded. "Of course. I am the best transformer. After my work, she will maximize her strengths and become a leader in her field. She will live a happier life than most." Her eyes shone brighter than ever. "I'm not afraid. I've already suffered when others teased me," she said. Tears welled in my eyes. The director said, "Serena, don't worry about their struggles. Being looked down by society is the real hardship." I nodded suddenly. The director's face lit up with joy. "This year has been full of good news. Just 2 days ago, another transformer named Apollo started working here. Do you know him?" I froze. At that moment, a gentle, clear male voice rang out. "Teacher, long time no see." I turned, stunned, and found myself gazing into a pair of eyes as bright as stars. Apollo was my university student and my very first transformation subject. Calling him a student was generous. He was more like a junior during university. To earn credits, I had to complete a successful transformation project at the time he suffered severe depression, often locking himself away for days. I took him on as my project to make him cooperate. I lied and told him I was a teacher. He never exposed the lie and affectionately called me teacher. "Why are you here?" I blurted. No wonder I was shocked. Apollo was a computer genius who, under my guidance, founded a studio worth over $100 million by graduation. How could he come here and become a transformer? Apollo proudly showed the prestigious transformer certification hanging around his neck, smiling brightly. "Teacher Serena, I've become an honorable transformer too. May I join you in shielding others from the storm?" I paused. I recalled how, after graduation, he insisted on returning here with me. Back then, I was busy making plans for my family's transformations and was annoyed by his persistence. So, I dismissed him with, "You don't even have an umbrella. How do you expect to shield others?" Never did I expect he would seriously earn the transformer certificate. I reached out my hand, a smile curling on my lips. Here's to a successful collaboration ahead. Apollo, master of transformation. A radiant light suddenly ignited in Apollo's eyes. To maximize the transformation of the children in the orphanage, Apollo and I divided them into 2 paths based on their academic tract. Those preparing for the college entrance exam and those who were not. There are countless paths in this world, but the state-run college entrance exam is by far the most cost-effective route. I plastered the transformation plans all over the walls. Unlike Faye's earlier resentment, the children's eyes shone with eager anticipation as we executed the plans. They didn't complain. Instead, they feared being abandoned if they didn't work hard enough. They clung carefully to this one, and only hope. Though there were many children in the orphanage, it was easier than when I had only transformed 3 family members. Under my guidance and their efforts, they made leaps and bounds. The most remarkable progress was Jovian. Now a senior, her grades had always hovered in the middle due to her improper study methods, but this time she ranked 3rd in the entire grade. When the results came out, I was in the office discussing with several teachers how to help Jovian improve even faster. "Teacher Serena, you really don't care about Faye anymore? Her grades have plummeted and she refuses to study. She's driving her homeroom teacher crazy." My hand froze as my eyes landed on Faye's ranking. 250th in the grade, with only 60 of her previous total score. Just then, Faye entered behind her homeroom teacher, wearing a scowl of impatience. It was the first time I had seen her since the last post on social media. I glanced at her without a flicker of emotion and sensed that since joining the dance troupe, even her appearance had changed. Before she had been innocent and simple. Now, with exaggerated makeup and an inexplicably sharp chin like a knife, she looked distorted and ugly. She spotted me and sneered proudly, rolling her eyes as if I were a nuisance. "Serena, aren't you annoying? You disappear for a bit, then come back to ruin things again. If you have guts, don't show up ever again." She was certain I was there to transform her. She peered at the lengthy study plan I'd written for Jovian on my desk and immediately exploded, shouting in a shrill voice, "More demands." "Are you kidding me? I'm not your study machine. I won't do any of this, no matter what." I rubbed my temple and said sternly, "Why shout so loudly? The plan isn't for you. It's for Jovian and the other class." The homeroom teacher of the neighboring class immediately brightened and chimed in, "If you can't control this wild one, someone else will." Sorry to say, the top score in the college entrance exam will probably be from our class. Faye's homeroom teacher's face twisted in anger, glaring at Faye as if she were a failure. Her eyes seemed to burn with frustration. Faye was completely stunned. She looked at me incredulously, her voice accusing Jovian. That lame loser. "Serena, are you crazy? I'm your own sister." My face darkened instantly. "So what? I prefer Jovian, and you've clearly had enough of this transformation." Ace screamed. "Of course I don't want it, but you can't just give it to someone else." I laughed coldly, mocking her. "Do you think you're a princess and everything has to revolve around you? Jovian's academic potential far surpasses yours. Why would I settle for less?" Faye's face turned icy. She sneered. "How could I be worse than her?" "Serena, you'll say anything just to rile me up." I smiled silently. Though ugly, Faye had an inexplicable confidence in her studies. Since undergoing my transformation, her grades had skyrocketed. Teachers and classmates adored her, reinforcing her deep belief that she was a gifted student. She often felt my efforts to transform her were torture and believed she could excel just fine without my guidance. I decided it was time to teach her a lesson. Tapping my fingers on the desk, I drawled, "Is that so? You're so great! Why didn't you dare sign up for the physics competition this time?" She instantly retorted, "I'm signing up right now! You think your transformation is so amazing. I'm telling you, it's only because I have talent that you look good. That Jovian, you have terrible taste choosing her. Without you, I'd soar higher and farther." With that, Faye dashed off to register. Physics was the most intellectually demanding subject, and also Faye's weakest. Previously, I forced her to train her logical reasoning and do countless practice problems just to maintain decent grades. Now I lowered my gaze and sneered inwardly. She hadn't done any training with exercises for a long time. Studying is like going upstream. No progress, meaning regression. She had probably already sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Without me, she would only fall harder and suffer more. By the time I left campus, it was already evening. As I approached the school gate, I spotted Cedric leaning against the wall, holding a box of durian. He was clearly waiting for me. When he saw me, he strode over and bit out. "You're ruthless. Breaking up just like that. Deleting me just like that." I raised my eyes, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "You're kind. Taking care of your sick first love. Liking a family reunion post." "Yeah, you're so kind. Who could be kinder than you?" Cedric choked on his saliva, unable to speak, his face pale and greenish. I ignored him and tried to pass, but he grabbed my hand. "Serena, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Don't leave me. I don't want to break up." I took a deep breath and said coldly, "You said you wanted me to transform you, but then complained I was too controlling." "You said you'd keep distance from your first love, then lied and went to take care of her. Cedric, you have so many disgusting tricks." Cedric froze with his grip tight and painfully on my hand. I gasped, then suddenly heard Cedric's feigned shout. Surprised, I turned to see Apollo smiling as he squeezed Cedric's wrist. Apollo's grip was strong enough to leave marks with little effort. "Harassing girls is not gentlemanly behavior," Apollo said calmly. Cedric twisted his face, baring his teeth, and demanded, "Who are you?" Apollo glanced at me, then said softly, "I'm Serena's favorite student." He deliberately emphasized favorite. Then, for some reason, my heart skipped a beat, replaced by a strange feeling, especially Cedric's expression as he left, as if betrayed, gave the scene an ambiguous tension. Apollo stared silently at me. The air grew warmer in a subtle way. I unconsciously clenched my fingers. Apollo chuckled softly, unable to hold back a grin. "Teacher Serena, when you taught me to be strong back then, you hardly looked this timid," I thought to myself. The old Apollo was fragile, but now there was a trace of danger about him. Perhaps sensing my thoughts, Apollo grew serious, clearing his throat. "I came to tell you that the dance route's organizers have given their approval." My heart soared with joy after realizing that some of the deaf-mute girls in the orphanage couldn't change their fate through exams. Apollo and I had searched day and night for a suitable path for them. I discovered that since they couldn't speak or hear, most preferred expressing themselves through body language. Dance not only gave them a unique skill, but also allowed them to better communicate their thoughts to the world. So, Apollo and I decided to form a dance group composed of several deaf-mute girls and hired professional instructors to teach them. But teaching alone wasn't enough. I had to make sure the whole world knew about them. Only then could the true prize to the top. The first step was to build their reputation. Genuine Ashenal-level dance theme was coming here soon to hold a competition to scout talented dancers. After negotiations, they refused to accept deaf music participants. Surprisingly, Apollo managed to change their minds. I looked at Apollo, my eyes moist. "Thank you. Convincing a national-level team to alter their requirements must have taken tremendous effort." Apollo shook his head with a wry smile. "No need to thank me. We were equal partners fighting side by side. It wouldn't do. If only you worked hard and I did nothing. That didn't make me a freeloader." I nodded firmly. "Right. Together we fight as transformers who will give these children the highest peak to reach." When the dance group's auditions officially began, I accompanied several deaf-mute girls to the venue. A circle of girls stood holding glowing signs bearing the dazzling words, "Arbor takes first." Excited voices rang out, finally getting to see him. "The dance troupe is here to pick up our big brother Arbor." So thrilled. If Arbor joins the troupe today, tomorrow he can use it as a springboard and debut straight away. Arbor's acting beats many stars, even at such a young age. If he debuts, I can't imagine how far he'll go. "Look, he's here!" Sharp shrieks erupted from the crowd. The girls screamed wildly, eyes fixed on one spot. Following their gaze, I saw Arbor. At a glance, I smiled. It had been a while. Arbor had gained at least 20 pounds. His once sharp, handsome jawline had blurred, and even a loose sweatshirt couldn't hide his bulkiness. No need to guess. He'd even been cheating at home, loading up on carbs, puffing up like a balloon. Whispers drifted from the crowd. "Is that really Arbor? He's put on so much weight." Our campus heartthrob turned greasy uncle. "Help! His perfect jawline is gone. How can he still steal my heart now? This is rough. I promised my girlfriend a picture of my little idol. How can I show up now without being looked down upon?" Arbor heard the remarks, too. He glared fiercely at one girl who had been quietly mocking him, then even raised his fist to strike. The girl screamed in terror. I looked coldly at Arbor, with no sense of image management and no emotional control. He was wrecking his own public reputation. Such stupidity. I was still his manager. I'd intervene immediately to salvage his image and stop the damage. I glanced at Flora and Blade acting as Arbor's managers, but they seemed oblivious to the problem's seriousness. Instead, they heard insults at the girls, who commented on Arbor's weight. "What trash! How dare you say my son is ugly? Say that again and I'll tear your mouth apart. So what if a man is fat? Women get dumped for being fat, but men are fat because they've got the guts." They grew more heated, even arguing with Arbor's female fans, until security arrived to break them up. I shielded the girls behind me, not wanting them hurt. Then I heard Arbor sneer.
"Well, if it isn't my good sister Serena, here to regret kicking out your potential star."
"You can regret all you want. You won't be transforming me again. I've had enough of you. Don't think you can control me anymore." Barbara's eyes burned with hatred. "My new manager is my dad. He's way better than you. Never forces me. Buys me whatever I want, lets me skip class. Only after leaving you did I realize how happy life can be." Arbor spoke slowly, his eyes full of emotion. Blade patted Arbor's shoulder and said gravely, "Son, my greatest wish is for you to live happily your whole life." Arbor's eyes reddened, tears threatening to spill. Flora glared at me, resentfully accusing. "It's all your fault. If you weren't so ruthless, my brother wouldn't have suffered so much. You don't deserve to be his sister." The three of them stood united in hatred and love, all the blame placed squarely on me. Parents love their children deeply, planning far ahead for them. I only ever wanted Arbor to go further, even if it meant he had to struggle along the way. I believe hard work pays off. No effort, no success. I opened my mouth to reply, then saw their eyes burning with resentment. So, I shut it. Again. Let them be. I prepared to leave with the girls, but Arbor suddenly called out. He stared at the girls' clothes with disdain. "Who are they? Why did you design clothes for them? You even designed my winter clothes." My bold use of color made my design style obvious. It wasn't surprising he recognized it. I said flatly, "'Cause I'm their transformer now, not yours." He glanced at us, still wearing the autumn sweatshirt I designed for him. So stylish it looked thin and foolish for early winter. Barber flared up instantly. "You're not my transformer, so you can't design my clothes. I'm your brother. Do you have no conscience?" He wants to avoid my control, but still reap benefits from me wishful thinking, seeing me ignore him. Arber's fragile pride was hurt, and he said to the girl,
"Congratulations. You're all in for a hard time from now on."
The lead dancer of the girl group understood lip reading well. She seriously replied fast. "Not hard at all, actually." I smiled. "So sweet. Hope makes even hardship taste smooth." Arber froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. "You actually tricked a bunch of new kids, Serena. You know I'm the real champion. You just chose some nobodies to lose my purpose. How embarrassing for you." My expression darkened. Then I said,
"They will be the champions."
Arber sneered.
"You must be crazy. I'm the champion. Just wait and see."
But at the first round, Arber's face was thoroughly beaten and swollen. The first round of the dance competition was called Popularity. A dancer who failed to win the audience's favor would soon be struggling to get ahead. The task was simple: garner enough votes from the audience to advance. And the audience's opinions were largely shaped by the order of entry before the round began. That's why Arber's fans brought so many light sticks to boost his popularity and help his way. As the first round started, Arber lounged lazily in the main seat, watching the votes with smug confidence. I was there too, accompanied by a few girls, offering them constant reassurance and encouragement. Barber snorted. "Sis, before the results come out, take these weak kids away. Don't let their crying ruin my mood when the results drop." I didn't even look up, my tone calm. "The game isn't over yet. Whose is crying later isn't decided." Arber scoffed, laughing at the mountain of light sticks before growing even more relaxed. The host began announcing the vote, going through the names, but no sign of Arber. Anxiety crept over him. The host's voice rose. "And now the highest vote hitter of this round is..." Arber tensed. "Congratulations to Xiang Yanxua." Arber sprang up in fury, shouting, "Did you misread that?"
"What's Xiang Yanxua?"
"It should be me, Arber. My name never came up. The Yanxua was the code name I gave to the dancers, flawed by those girls. How could it be strange? They were sunflowers always facing the sun, never lowering their heads." The host coldly responded,
"No mistake. Your is -1. We just didn't want to embarrass you by announcing it."
Laughter erupted through the crowd. Arber eyes showed madness. I smiled victoriously from the moment Arber and his group entered. I deliberately refrained from arguing with them, just to draw attention and make everyone aware of his mockery toward Xiang Yanxua. His foolish behavior caused his fans to abandon him, many of whom turned their light sticks intentionally to Xiang Yanxua, just to spite him. Xiang Yanxua won effortlessly. Arber lost utterly. Arber refusing to accept the result. Without entering the dance troupes, he no hope to debut as a star. Thus, Arber wasn't out of options yet. The first round could be bypassed with money. A donation of 1 million to the dance group guaranteed passage to the next round. That was Arber's only path left, so he cast hopeful eyes on his mom. "Hurry up and give me the money. I want to be a star," as Arber pleaded. Flora looked uneasy and pointed toward Blade. Her money had all gone to him. Blade clutched his pockets, unwillingly.
"I wouldn't give you the money. Give me the money."
Arber panicked.
"Let Mom earn more for you. She's good at making money now."
Wade stared coldly.
She's been losing money for months. That's my retirement fund. No one's touching it.
Arbor stared at his mom, who hung her head shamefully, her voice barely a whisper.
I don't know why, but business has not been right for a while.
She then glared at me. I snorted lightly. If I had not worked hard to encourage her and use my strength to secure resources and contracts, she wouldn't have earned attention yet. The moment she started to earn a profit, she used it to raise. A man who once abused her. Now she is glaring angrily at me.
You're my father,
Arbor said.
Do you want me to throw away my entire future?
Suddenly, the colored glasses Arbor saw and worship his father with broke. Blade had been playing the good father all this time. Arbor had truly believed he'd change. Now Arbor finally realized the good father was just a pretense. Now, revealing his selfishness and cruelty, the illusion of a happy home shattered. Then Blade grabbed him, cursing and snarling while dragging him away. I was fooled to believe you could become a star and make me money. You can't even pass the first round. Now you want me to give you money? Get lost. And don't ever expect me to give you a dime again. Arbor was roughly hauled along, his eyes full of resentment and pain, casting a desperate look toward Flora. Flora glanced away, trailing behind them silently, too afraid to utter a word. Only when they disappeared did the farce finally end. The host approached us, beaming.
Beautiful,
he said.
Congratulations on advancing.
Knowing the girls couldn't hear, he clumsily gestured as he spoke. Seeing the genuine smile on his face and his deliberate, proud introduction of Xiang Yansha to everyone, I thought to myself, kindness in this world is like the sunflower, ever facing the sun, never falling. With some days left before the next round, I refocused on Jovian, who was about to take the college entrance examination. It was the day Jovian and Faye participated in the physics competition and awaited their results. Jovian won the gold medal. The school hung a celebratory banner and replaced the honor wall's photo with hers. That spot was the most prominent on the entire wall. There I had once planned to place Faye's photo. I had told Faye countless times that I would put her photo there in my previous life. After Faye became the top scorer, her photo indeed adorned the wall's prime spot. Now she stood alone in a corner, glaring at Jovian's photo on the honor wall. After competing in physics, she hadn't even made it to the finals. Her grades were just too poor. Even knowing there was a competition coming up, she didn't take it seriously at all. Most days, she skipped classes with a few girls from the Performing Arts Club to go out and have fun, drunkenly scaling the school fence at night to sneak back in. On the day of the competition, she lost track of time entirely. After a tortuous journey to the exam hall, she found her mind completely blank. She forgot all the problem-solving approaches and where to find any breakthrough. Jovian handed me the trophy, tears streaming down his face. Her voice choked. Teacher Serena, I won the prize. The first person I want to thank is you. Thank you truly. I smoothed Jovian's disheveled sideburns and smiled. It's too early to thank me now. Wait until you get into the top university, then come. Thank me again. Jovian nodded excitedly, resolute. Teacher Serena, I will. After Jovian left, Faye approached me. She held herself aloof, speaking with a tone of condescension, as if granting a favor. I thought it over. I'm willing to continue with the transformation, but first I need a few days' rest. You prepare the transformation plan during that time. Seeing her expression clearly saying, I agreed to be transformed, so you better be secretly happy, I didn't know whether to be angry or amused. I knew why Faye suddenly wanted to continue the transformation. The few girls from the performing arts club had used her dream of stardom as a ruse to steal all her pocket money. Those girls did nothing but eat, drink, and put ugly tattoos on her. They never taught her a thing. When the truth was revealed, those girls sneered and mocked Faye for being ugly and making trouble. Wanna be an idol? With that ugly face? Who's the blind fan? No merits at all. If it weren't for her good grades covering for us, who'd bother with her? But no. Even that one advantage has gone. She is almost back to being as pitiful as before. Returning to the pitiful past was Faye's greatest fear. She finally realized that chasing dreams was impossible. She might barely survive. Day to day, she panicked. But even when begging, she still put on a full show of arrogance. Thinking she was all that, I smiled. Little sister, now that you want a transformation, I'm not free. Faye's eyes widened. Angrily, she snapped, I've already compromised. What more do you want? Ridiculous. Her compromise was hardly impressive. Seeing the mockery in my eyes, Faye clenched her teeth until they rattled. She snorted coldly. Without you, I could get into Qing Shui just fine. Then she pushed me harshly and stormed out. Faye threw all her energy into studying, desperate to regain her former standing. But no matter how hard she worked, how many sleepless nights she endured, her grades only improved marginally. Without my carefully crafted transformation plan, she exerted herself fully, yet reaped little reward. Inefficient hard work is scarier than laziness. Before, she didn't study, but at least had a smart image. Now, after all that effort, she'd become both ugly and dull. Thought she was smart. Without her sister Serena's transformation, she wouldn't have such good grades. She even yells at her sister, acting like she's wronged. If I had Serena as a sister, I'd laugh myself awake every night. Hearing whispers nearby, Faye suddenly tore up her barely passing test paper. But then, she stopped getting angry and actually started looking happy, like she'd found a solution. Jovian frowned at me, saying, ever since learning that Faye treated me poorly, she liked to share Faye's embarrassing stories as a small revenge. I smiled and told Jovian to focus on her studies and not bother me. But I was thinking, Faye, what solution could she possibly have? Then she went out. It took a little while, then Cedric appeared before me, frowning and asking me to forgive Faye. I knew her plan. She had turned to her dear brother-in-law for help. Cedric spoke with righteous firmness.
You wronged Faye. She forgave you and reconciled. You should be grateful instead of being shameless.
How did I wrong Faye? I asked him back. Cedric, worn out from caring for his first love, looked tired and irritable. You took away her freedom, controlled her so strictly, yet she still wants to make up with you. You should thank her. Although we broke up, I advise you not to be selfish. For a woman, family and men matter most. Look, throughout history, women who fall out with family always end up miserable.
You've lost me already, and that's bad enough. I don't want you to lose your family too. I'm living happily now with Celia, and I hope you find happiness too.
Mentioning his first love, Cedric's weary face lit up with a glow. His fatherly words made me laugh with disbelief. But Cedric definitely didn't know his first love was secretly transferring all his assets, while he was lost in the sweetness of their romance. Cell's great. She never pushes me to improve. She lets me do whatever I want. Way better than you! Cedric looked at me smugly, showing off. I smiled and nodded, wishing him well. Sure. You're the happiest. Thinking I'd agreed to reconcile with Faye, Cedric cheerfully called her and told her. And next time I went to school, Faye pushed Jovian aside and sat before me, arms crossed, waiting for her transformation. I dumped a huge pile of discarded test papers in front of her. That many problems should shut her up until the college entrance exam. Faye twisted her face. "Why so many?" I replied coldly. "No one's forcing you to do them." Faye glared, grit her teeth, and walked away, clutching the papers, threatening it better work. My dear little sister. Of course it won't. If Faye wants me to transform her, I'll give her tasks. But whether she's suitable or whether it works is none of my concern. During the second round of the dance competition, I unexpectedly saw Arbor eliminated. He had gained even more weight and bundled in an oversized winter coat. He looked like a round rolling ball without my strict supervision. Even if he wanted to slim down, he couldn't control his binge eating. Seeing me arrive with the Xiangyansha group, Arbor immediately felt threatened and glared viciously at us. "I've already paid the $1 million. This time, the championship is mine." I looked at the lonely Arbor and instantly guessed where his money came from. "You stole Blade's $1 million retirement fund." Fear flashed across Arbor's face. He argued, "What's $1 million? When I become a big star, I'll pay him back." My gaze softened with pity. Blade was obsessed with money. If he ever found out Arbor had stolen from him, Arbor would face severe retaliation. Arbor had already turned away from me, his gaze burning as he stared at the stage, cracking his knuckles in eager anticipation of the competition's start. The second round of the selection officially began. Contestants needed to perform their dances on stage and be scored by professional judges. One by one, the contestants took the stage, their movements graceful and light, like ethereal beings from another world. Leaning to the side, Arbor clicked his tongue and mocked. "That move's no good. That expression is too stiff, and that one's just plain ugly. No matter how well they danced in his mouth, they were all fools and losers compared to him." Finally, it was Arbor's turn. He straightened his clothes and with difficulty climbed onto the stage with his round, heavy body, panting heavily. Once there, exhausted, he demanded a half-hour rest before dancing. The judges rolled their eyes and coldly said, "If that's the case, 0 points." Arbor immediately cursed. "Do you know I'm terrible at dancing? Without a break, I won't perform well. Can you take responsibility for that?" The judges gave him a look as if he were insane and waved over security to escort him out. Arbor reluctantly withdrew his request for rest. He performed street dance, his strongest style, one I had specially chosen for him before, full of vitality and attention-grabbing flair. But this dance required a slim, agile body to execute perfectly. That's why I had enrolled him into Darius weight loss classes. Now he was struggling on stage, unable to jump or bend properly, looking ridiculous and cringeworthy. Both audience and judges covered their eyes, unable to watch. Arbor struggled through the routine, shooting me a confident look before gasping for breath and stepping down. Next up were my Xiangyansha girls. The girls smiled confidently and began their dance, their graceful figures capturing everyone's attention. The judges exchanged looks, all showing satisfied expressions. I exhaled in relief. This was secure. Sure enough, when the results came out, Xiangyansha ranked first, Arbor dead last. Arbor lost the chance to enter the finals, shaking all over, utterly shattered by the loss, his future now mostly ruined. I was about to take the Xiangyansha girls out to celebrate when Arbor suddenly charged over and knelt before me. Sis, I was wrong. I can't do without your guidance. Please keep transforming me. He had finally realized that my guidance was not destruction, but salvation. I gently pulled his hands away and shook my head. Arbor, regret is the most useless thing. I never looked back when I turned and left. He collapses to the ground in despair. The final competition would be after the college entrance exam. Jovian, the celebrated top scorer, also arrived. She handed me her acceptance letter to Tingshui University, her eyes sparkling. Teacher. Teacher. I made it. I thought I could barely get into any university and would struggle through life. Thank you for changing my fate. Her eyes reddened slightly, filled with gratitude as she looked at me. But what came to my mind was my last lives with Faye. She never thanked me. Instead, she angrily threw her acceptance letter in my face, cursing me. You're happy I got in, huh? You ruined my life. I curse you to die miserably. This life they didn't even pass university entrance. She had plenty of time to chase dreams and live freely as she wished, but she was on the brink of madness. Unable to enter university, Blade refused to pay for her to retake the exam, forcing her to work in a factory to support the family. He even tried to set her up with a middle-aged divorced man for a dowry. She resisted, and Blade went into a violent rage with no income. Blade's true nature surfaced. He regularly abused Flora and Faye, leaving Flora battered and bruised. Flora once begged me tearfully for help, but I refused without hesitation. Love-blinded fools can't be saved. After Arbor was caught stealing from Blade, Blade beat him nearly to death and locked him up at home to vent his anger. Arbor reverted to the withdrawn, depressed, overweight boy he once was. He posted on social media, "This rotten, stinking family makes me want to die." The picture showed Blade drunkenly passed out, Flora kneeling timidly before him, and Face staring blankly at him, her face covered in scars. Cedric didn't feel like liking the post. He was frantically reporting his ex-girlfriend to the police after she recovered. She had drained his assets and even took out high-interest loans in his name. The people I cherished most in my past life were all plunging further into the abyss. Winter sunlight stabbed my face, making it hard to keep my eyes open until several hands instinctively shielded me from the glare. When I opened my eyes, the pure, caring smiles of the Xiangyansha girls warmed my heart. Loss in one place brings gain in another. Go. Compete. You will be champions. You will have the best futures, I wrote with a smile, but no one moved. More than winning, they seemed worried I'd be hurt by the winter UV rays. A pair of large, slender hands covered theirs.
Go. I'll shield your teacher.
My hands are big. Apollo appeared unexpectedly, eyes full of warmth and joy. Only then did the girls finally feel at ease to go compete. Apollo tilted his head with a teasing smile.
Teacher Serena, your students keep growing. Can I get a promotion in rank?
I couldn't help but laugh. You were the one who insisted on calling me teacher. Apollo's face softened. But I regret it. Rather than calling you teacher, I want to call you my wife.